Are you struggling with low book sales? Discover the common mistakes that could be killing your book's visibility and how to fix them fast. Learn how to analyze your sales data, improve your marketing strategy, and get your book in front of the right readers. If you're tired of hearing crickets, this is going to be the podcast episode for you, so make sure that you stay tuned. You want more recognition for your book and more reviews? Of course you do. My sponsor, Book Award Pro, is the all-in-one solution that helps you win awards and get high-quality reviews to boost your credibility in sales. I've used Book Award Pro myself, and it's a game changer. With 42 awards across 12 publications, I know firsthand how powerful awards can be, not just for validation, but for exposure and discoverability. And here's the kicker. Book Award Pro doesn't just find the right awards for your book, it also helps you secure legitimate reviews and editorial reviews. That means more social proof, more visibility, and ultimately more sales. Their smart matching technology finds the best awards and review opportunities tailored to your book while their automated system handles the submissions for you. Whether you're a new author looking for credibility or a seasoned pro wanting to add more accolades to your portfolio, Book Award Pro makes the process effortless. If you want to take your book to the next level with more awards and reviews, head over to my affiliate link at dalelinks.com/bookawardpro and start getting the recognition your book deserves. Again, that's dalelinks.com/bookawardpro. Seemed like I was going from one pitch into the very next pitch, but I promise you, the episode's not about Book Award Pro. Book Award Pro is a sponsor, and I'm very happy that they've been a long-time sponsor here of this podcast. So just tickled to death that I could be able to do something with them. All right, so let's go ahead and get back to the matter at hand. This is the first of a 12-part series. That's the Indie Author's Guide to Selling More Books. So you're going to want to make sure you stay tuned over the next 12 weeks to get the most comprehensive guide for indie authors and selling more books. And this week, we are starting it off hot. Coming out, one of the biggest issues where a lot of people say, I've got my book, but I'm not selling anything. And that's fine. I know there are a lot of people that do that there, but now we've got to go back and we have to analyze some of the most important elements that could be, overlooked or underestimated on your part. And please, take everything they say with a grain of salt. It's not me trying to beat you up. I'm not trying to say, well, gosh, you're horrible at all 5 of these things, so you're never going to sell a single book. But I think if you just take one little aspect here from this podcast here and implement it today and over the next coming months, you're going to see some massive growth. So let's talk about 5 key elements to selling more books. These are going to be the elements that are non-negotiable. You need to get these all dialed in. First one. Number 1, the niche. Okay, let's be honest here. You hear me joke about it a lot of times where I say, if you're in the werebear shapeshifter romance niche or underwater basket weaving for dolphins, just crazy things like that. Now, there's a good reason why I mention things. Now, werebear shapeshifter used to be very, very hot. I don't know that it is these days, but shapeshifter romance is still pretty big thing. But all that aside to say this is that sometimes these very obscure niches just don't draw a dime. They don't have the readership. They don't have the market. So this is where you absolutely need to see if there's market demand before you start having these expectations, these delusions of grandeur. Because if you're doing books about underwater basket weaving and there's like a market of like 10 people interested in that, you're going to have a very uphill battle because there's just no demand. So it's going to be harder for you to get it out there and sell more books. And, I hear this a lot with a lot of these genre bending or multi-genre authors that mix a lot of things together. That's good. It's fine. I'm glad you created. That's good. But you got to find something that readers can attach themselves to, that they can really identify without having to sit here, well, it's a sci-fi horror with a blend of romance and fantasy in it, and it has a mystery in it. No. You got to get good on your niche. And it's not about, well, let me get all these little tiny niches in between. So what you're going to need to do is research successful books in your genre. What's trending and what's consistently selling. That's going to give you a great idea of the direction that you need to head in. Now, how do you refine your niche without boxing yourself in? It's fine to be a genre-bending author. That's totally cool. It's fantastic. I'm sure you're still fulfilling some of the tropes. Figure out what is going to be the overarching genre that you're trying to cover. What is the niche that you're really covering? It's good that you understand who your audience is. A number of years ago, I've said this story a number of times. A good friend of mine, Mark Stafford, big shout out to Mark over in Arizona. Mark had got the first copy of my first book. I handed it to him. He thought, oh, wow, this is kind of cool. And he asked me the very first thing, he says, who is this book for? And I said, everyone. What are you, goofy? It's for everyone. He's like, hang on a second. You mean to tell me you gave the same fitness advice to a teenager that you would give to a senior citizen? And I was like, hey, okay. This is where it stumped me. And this is why you need to understand who is your audience. What is the niche that you're fulfilling? You can't just simply blindly say, oh, well, everybody's going to love this book. No, everybody's not going to love the book. It's a fact. Now, pro tip, check reader reviews of similar books to identify what readers love and hate. This is a conversation I had with my wife, I think, this past weekend. We were talking about going and looking at reviews, the positives and the negatives all between. And Dibbly Create's got a fantastic tool I was telling her about and say, hey, that actually analyzes all the reviews and tells you where there's a opportunity gap, where there's an opportunity gap that you can fulfill. So if you're ever kind of stuck and you're running, okay, what do I need to write? What do I need to publish? How do I best serve this niche? Read the reviews, because the readers are going to tell you exactly what they're looking for. Number 2, the cover design. I've said this so many times before, but let's go ahead and repeat it anyways. Readers do judge a book by its cover. Your cover must match the genre and market expectations. So this means that if you are doing your own book cover and you're not a cover designer and you've got a JoJo looking cover design like I've had many times myself where I tried to do it myself, chances are very likely that is your issue. Now, if you're the type of person that has complained to no end, saying, I am not getting any sales, but I do my own book covers, I think we probably solved part of your problem. Now, I understand not everybody has a discretionary budget to go out there and hire a cover designer. But if you just give it some time, don't rush it. Hire a professional cover designer. Over at, like, say, Get Covers. And by the way, some of these links are inside. They're not inside the show notes. I'm just rattling these things off. Get Covers is a fantastic company. It's a sister company to Miblart, my preferred cover design service. They start at $10. $10, folks. At least get it to where they seed out your cover design. You can always just build your print cover iteration and your audiobook cover iteration yourself if you wanted to. And there's just $10, like $10 flat. That's it. If you wanted to upgrade, you get it $20 and get the ebook and the print version. Or you can get the high premium version. That's $35. If money is an issue, that's going to be the case. Just use something like Get Covers. And that way you at least have a professional cover design. You can always invest and reinvest what you have into a higher premium cover design through other different services. But I would say is invest in a good cover design service. Now, how do you tell if your cover is hurting sales? Hell, this is going to come down to really understanding, okay, I'm not getting any sales. All of my best marketing efforts and promotional efforts are not selling any books. I've shared it in newsletters. I've shared it on social media. I've been very consistent about things. That's probably going to be your cover. Now, there is a way that you can figure out your cover design as being an issue. Could be through Amazon advertising, but that does come with a little bit of an asterisk. If you don't know what you're doing on Amazon ads, then chances are very likely you won't know what to do as far as the data goes. By the way, I've got a book about that called Advertising for Books. You can get a deeper dive into that. Any rate, advertising through Amazon is one of the best ways. If you're serving your ad out to the proper targets, you're getting the impressions, but you're not getting any clicks. We, for one, could say, okay, maybe it's an improper target, an improper or irrelevant target. Great. If that's not the case, and you know you've got it super dialed in and it's still not getting any clicks, that cover needs work. Just a reality of things. In order to really convert into more clicks and then converting into sales, you need to have a cover design that's going to resonate with your ideal reader. Now, here's a pro tip. Browse Amazon's top 100 in your category. Does your cover fit in or stand out in the wrong way? You'll know. You'll know. Put it right against the other ones. And if you're kind of going, oh, mine looks better than the rest of them, hey, that's great for you. But what do other people think, like your peers? This is a huge reason why I say join me inside Discord. I got a great community. We have a whole channel devoted to cover design feedback. Go on in there, and people are going to tell you brutally honest thoughts about your cover design. Number 3, book description, or what I like to call marketing copy. I've called it ad copy in the past, but it's technically marketing copy. Now, the biggest mistake when it comes to book descriptions is summarizing the book instead of selling it. We don't need a summary, all right? We don't need the Cliff Notes version of your stuff. You're going to want to make sure that you craft it with a strong hook and keep it reader focused. What's in it for them? That hook is going to make the biggest difference in the world. There's so many times that I've looked at some people that are just struggling to get any sales. I open up their product page to see a wall of text that is just like, oh, okay, I've got to take the next 10 minutes to read about this book. Okay, no, pass. No, I'm good. Focus on the hook. Really separate that out from the rest. And here's where you're going to really want to change things up. There's a formatting trick that I like to do, and it's something that I learned from Brian Meeks a long time ago. Instead of having this giant paragraph for people to get through, or this teeny tiny little one sentence thing, break everything up to easily digestible and easily readable passages, if you will. If you ever kind of lost, go look at some of my book descriptions and you'll be able to see that. You don't want to get it to where it breaks up so it's easy on the eye, and when someone looks at that and goes, oh, I can read that, and then boom, they've read it within less than 2 minutes. That's the ideal thing. Now, here's a pro tip. Read best-selling descriptions, your niche, and model what works. You're going to see that the bestsellers just crush it for good reason. It might be for great cover design and for great marketing copy. Next element for you to be aware of is going to be number 4, keywords and categories. All right, so you see some of this stuff that's coming together here. We've got the marketing copy, aka your book description, and now we got the keywords and categories. Now, technically, I know keywords and categories are two separate things, but this is kind of the thing that rounds out your metadata. It's the stuff that's going to make you more discoverable through keywords and gets it to where your book is placed in the right digital bookshelves. Because if you're just putting your book into some type of a bookshelf that has nothing to do with you, let's say, oh, I've got this romance book and it has a doctor in it. Let me put this into a nonfiction category about doctors. No, that is a stupid idea. That's wrong. Don't do that. That's in the wrong shelf. If you go into the library, does your book fit into that section? That's going to be the biggest thing. Now, how do keywords impact discoverability? It's just as simple as this. If you say the right things, you can attract the right audience. So, for instance, we already talked about Werebear's Shapeshifter Romance. Well, chances are very likely we're going to want to figure out what's a big trope or a setting or a character type within Werebear's Shapeshifter Romance. Let's just say strong male protagonist could probably be like one. Strong male protagonist shapeshifter could be something like that. If there are enough readers that are searching for books like yours with that particular keyword, then chances are super likely that you are going to want to associate your book with that specific keyword. Now, the big issue though, a lot of people think that keywords are going to sell books, but no, keywords just make it to where you're more discoverable. The same thing for categories. They just make your book more discoverable. Because if you've got a trash cover and you got horrible marketing description, then it does not matter the keywords and categories you select. And that's why I put everything in the order that I did, because you want to make sure that you have all of that dialed in. So when you are discoverable, then people go, oh, that's a great cover design. Oh my gosh, that book description, gotta buy it. It's all mine. So the power of the metadata is something you should not take lightly. Amazon and other platforms index your book according to the keywords and the words that you're using, as well as the categories you're placing your book in. This means that it gets it to where, again, you're more discoverable on their platform. Now, pro tip, use tools like Publisher Rocket, the Amazon search bar, Kip Scout, or KDP's suggestions to find effective keywords and categories just for you. Number 5, the most important part to selling books. You can just take all of these other options before and just throw them out the window. If you are not doing this very last thing, you won't sell a single book. If you do sell some books here and there, all right, I'll eat my words. That's fine. I know that every blind squirrel catches themselves a nut, so that's going to happen to you as well. Most important thing for selling books is consistent marketing and promotion. You absolutely need to show up. Marketing and promotion is all about visibility. And here's the thing is, a lot of people think, well, I already did an interview before and it didn't give me any sales. Great. Why don't you try a dozen interviews or get back to me when you've done over 100 interviews? A lot of people say, oh, Dale, it's kind of nice because you've done so much of these things. Yeah, it took me years. I've been in this business for over a decade, going on 11 years, coming up here relatively soon. So that's why some of these things are not a one and done thing. So interviews is one great example. Marketing is just not a one and done task, folks. It's an ongoing process to make yourself more highly visible. And there's a difference too between organic and paid marketing. And here's why they both matter. Organic marketing's fantastic. Those of you that are cash strapped are probably like, oh my gosh, Dale, you told me paid marketing. I don't have the money to do that. That's totally fine. That's great. But as your business starts to grow, as you start to sell more books, try to take some of those earnings, a small percentage of those things, and reallocate it to paid marketing efforts, whether it's Amazon ads or it's through BookBub ads or Facebook ads, or we can even put those things aside and look into things like written word media, different promotional websites, things like that. Now, the organic traffic is fantastic. You've got everything dialed in and people are coming and buying your book. But the paid marketing is a way to kind of raise up the tide just a little bit more so that way you sell even more books. This is a great way to just really double down and get even more traffic over towards that direction, because here's the thing, your organic traffic's doing really well. Guess what happens when you start sending paid traffic? Okay, people start buying more. Well, what's a platform going to do but serve your book out to even more people, organically speaking? Now, you also need to make sure you're building an author brand through through things like your email lists, social media, collaborations with other authors in your niche, and of course, reader engagement. Make sure you're building that community between you and your readership. Don't just let it live and die on Amazon's platform. Get them off of Amazon's platform into your ecosystem by way of an email marketing, some type of an email list, if you will, that you can have a reader magnet. You can attract people on over. I've done entire episodes about email lists and how to build those types of things. So make sure you go back to any of my previous episodes. Now, pro tip, track what's working, double down on successful strategies, and adjust when needed. You're going to hear things that work really well for some people, and it might not work worth a darn for you. That's okay. That's okay. It's not a one-size-fits-all business here, folks. Find out what truly works for your book, double down on those strategies, and continue to investigate and do a little bit of trial and error until you can find other things that can be able to build that growth, to get it up through the roof. And it's just going to take time, folks. This is coming from a guy that's been into this business for over a decade. It's crazy for me to say this. Hey, as we start to wrap things up, of course, I want to give a big shout out to Book Award Pro, my sponsors. Winning awards and getting high quality reviews can make or break your book's success. Now, with Book Award Pro, you get both without the hassle. Their smart technology finds the best opportunities for awards and reviews, submits them for you in some instances, and helps your book stand out. I've won over 42 awards for 12 books, and I can tell you, it makes a huge difference. Huge difference. I had a great conversation with somebody this past weekend about some of my experience with Book Award Pro. And they were kind of like really concerned, like, is this just all like participation trophies? Like, no. I'm sure there might be some awards out there that might be like participation trophies, but it's been my experience. I haven't won every single book award that I've applied my book to. I'd like to think that my book's pretty good, but apparently it's not good enough to win every single time. So just so you know that this is not some kind of scheme or scam or anything else like that that's going to fleece you of your money or anything else. You're also going to want to make sure that you just go through. Book Award Pro is going to give you some items, and they're going to say, hey, check out this award, this award, this award, this award. Scour through those. Figure out which one of those have the best benefit. So, for instance, recently I won an award through the Book Fest for my book, Self-Publishing for New Authors. And they'd contacted me to let me know, like, hey, you won an award. And by the way, we'd love to have you interviewed on our show. And I'm like, yeah, let's do that. And as soon as I got connected with the organizer, I got an additional interview on top of that. So this puts me in front of my ideal reader twice. Just crazy. This is part of book awards. And that's just one example. So if you're ready to boost your credibility in sales, get started today at dalelinks.com/bookawardpro. Sorry for going so long on that, but I just figured I would share that conversation. Here are my final thoughts when it comes to the things that we've covered. Now, just as a really quick recap, why your book isn't selling, chances are you're in the wrong niche, you don't have a good cover, your book description isn't worth a darn, your keywords and categories are improper or irrelevant, and you aren't consistently marketing and promoting. Get those things dialed in. Get your niche really good. Get that cover design, professional, looking awesome, ready for the market. Get that book description dialed in. Don't just make it a summary. Have those keywords and categories. Accurately describe your publication. And remember, marketing and promotion is about being visible. How can you be visible on a regular basis? I say daily if you can, if not weekly, and if you're really busy, at least monthly. Now, which one of these elements is your weakest link? I'd like to know from you. Start there and just fix it. And if you need any additional help, join me inside my Discord community at dalelinks.com/Discord. But the big thing is here, folks, is take action today and track your progress. Now, if you want a deeper dive into book marketing strategies, then check out my 4-time award-winning book, Promotional Strategies for Books, available every major online retailer when you visit dalelinks.com/promobook. But stay tuned, because coming this March is my deep dive into scoring bestseller status on Amazon with the bestseller book launch plan. I just had the final manuscript in my hand, and oh my gosh, I'm excited to get it into your hands. Now, do you want more details or to get advanced access of this book? Subscribe to my email newsletter at dalelinks.com/checklist today, and I'll kick you my bestseller book launch checklist as a bonus. Yeah, this is the checklist that the book is based on, so don't miss out on that. dalelinks.com/checklist. Hey, this next week we're going to be moving forward in the series. We're going to be talking about book marketing for broke authors. What actually works? Well, we're going to discuss that. You got no budget, no problem. I got you covered, because I was in your position at one point or another, and I think that I know that a lot of these suggestions I'm going to give you next week are going to blow your mind. And even if you do have the budget, tune in, because I'm going to show you some things you're going to go, oh, it's that easy? Yeah, it's that easy. Till later, this has been Self-Publishing with Dale, and I'll catch you next week.